Very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Vande Mataram folks joining in on the NASSCOM product conclave. This is Shailu Tipparaju, and we have a wonderful guest, Kapil, who's joining us. The topic is zero budget marketing. We will dive in
Hello,
and look
everyone.
at, thank you, Kapil, for joining us. Before we dive in, I'll tell you a quick insight into how we see a launch of a new idea, a new entity, a new platform, a new product. The world famous 4 Ps about you have an awesome product. How do you place it properly? How do you price it properly? But most importantly, how do you promote it properly? In all the NASSCOM events, I have done this before. We always began with a share, which is a poetry. Kapil, I hope Hindi is something familiar to you. So
Absolutely,
let's
yes.
continue that tradition and begin. This is a very famous Mr. Hasti's line that some of you, if you like ghazals, प्यार का पहला खत लिखने में वक्त तो लगता है नए परिंदों को उड़ने में वक्त तो लगता है so for platforms to kick off it takes time, especially the first step is the most critical step. We will talk about with Kapil how does it work in the world of zero budget marketing, in the sense of how do you spend least resources and how do you get maximum benefit. The guest we have is not a novice. For Clodura, he has done a phenomenal work on creating a platform that is an AI powered sales intelligence tool. In fact, one of the world's first integrated sales data platform. What is the purpose of it? High precision prospecting, intelligence, and outreach. He has done a lot of work in marketing, armed with computer science and an MBA in marketing and finance, putting 17 plus years. His mission has been single focus for Kapil. How do I bring sales guys to close deals faster? If that doesn't sound exciting, I don't know what does. He has done this work across many companies in CalSoft, in Unican, in BMC, and humility is not the forte of marketing guys. So he is a self-proclaimed badminton champion. He also plays his flute and spends time on the beaches. Let's dive in, and a few things we will go through in this session. One is, what does it take to put your time, energy, and effort in marketing? How do we build the teams to execute? And how do we build partnerships? Kapil, any beginning words before we take it away, and how do you define marketing in your world?
So thank you so much, NASSCOM, for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you so much, Shailesh, for all the generous words. Just let me know when to send the champagne bottle later on, and I'll do the needful. So thank you all again. As basically Shailesh said, marketing and sales basically go hand in hand in a lot of things. What we basically do at Clodura today, or we've been doing in previous startups as well, was basically not believing in the myth that you need to have a lot of budget to actually create a buzz around your product. It's all a game of a lot of technique and patience along the side, which will actually get you through. So of course, the 4 Ps that we all learn constantly, from the Kotlers of the world. If you do it correctly, you can achieve the results that you want with a lot less budget than what we assume that you need. It's just that doing it correctly is more important. Getting some feedback from people who already have done it is a lot more important, and you can definitely achieve the targets that you want to achieve.
Great. You mentioned something about listening. As we think about the energy spent on finding the fastest to reach the customer with focus, how do you spend the time, energy, and effort on the listening component so the message is targeted, it is precise, and it is exactly aimed at the right audience to make maximum impact? Tell us about the listening aspect of your marketing.
Correct. So this basically starts from prospecting. When we decide what to write as a message, we decide what kind of a message is going to go for what kind of a person. It sounds a lot sounds very simple, but a lot of companies miss the trick in terms of figuring out the right persona for the right message. We are a very small company right now. Our universe is not very big. Even then, we have about 12 types of different personas, for which we have about 60 to 70 types of different messages already pre-written. So you have to go through that pain. There is no way you can send out a same message to 50 people in the same company and hope that somebody responds to that message. You can't even have five people like Vada Pav at the same time, right? So you cannot expect somebody to buy a product on a very generic message. So you have to have put in that much kind of an effort to identify what kind of a message is going to resonate with what kind of audience. A manager is going to have a different trigger point, a director is going to have a different trigger point, a VP is going to have a different trigger point, and a CXO is absolutely going to have a different trigger point. So identify those trigger points and then go after those trigger points for those specific kind of a person. I think that's the key for doing the right messaging.
That's brilliant. Let me extend something you mentioned, which is as someone who teaches marketing and branding, this resonates very well with me as well, which is identify the personas and then personalize it. Don't make it generic, if I'm paraphrasing what you said, which is the more you understand each persona as to what message resonates with them, one size fits all may be efficient, but not effective, as I hear it. And second is in terms of personalizing this, how do you keep the message common, but the tailoring individual? What's the trick to doing that for the same product?
So if you look at it, the general rule of thumb that typically I follow and I've seen others follow as well is a same message in a same company cannot go to more than 5 people. That is also if the company is very large. So for example, if I'm sending something as a pitch to a manager, if I'm sending it to more than 5 people, either my messaging is too generic or my prospecting persona is very, very generic. So one of the two cases have definitely gone wrong. There is hardly ever a case where you will find more than 5 people being responsible and being triggered by the exact same thing. So it'll generally not happen. So figuring out essentially what are those trigger points for those people is the key concept in this. You don't have to pitch, for example, the basic things of car sales, right? Feature value benefits. The feature typically are going, now I'm talking from the SaaS product angle here. Features typically are sold to the guys who are actually going to use it. The values and benefits are typically going to the directors, levels, and managers and above. And the analytics part, the whole vision part, and the whole thing is bought by the CXO. So figure out what triggers, these kind of things. Who's getting triggered by what kind of things in an organization, and then design your pitches accordingly. So I'll just give a quick example. When we do this for managers, we do a separate campaign wherein we pitch them all the features that we talked about. For director levels, we pitch them all the values and benefits, and for VPs, we pitch them a single point analytics for where they can go and track the entire team's performance and everything, because that's what triggers them mostly. And when we target the procurement guys, we tell them we will give it the best alternative offer that they can never refuse, because that's what triggers them. They don't care about the features, they don't care about the value benefits or anything else. So you have to know your customers, right? So identify who's listening to the message, and then figure out what's going to trigger inside their head.
There's a ton of science in which you're mentioning how this works. So in one sense, people always equate marketing to a brochure. As a copywriter, I can tell you, it is not about how pretty it looks, it is how closely does it resonate with the user. And the word that used is trigger. So in terms of understanding so many personas, so many features, so many benefits, so many triggers, how do you personally in your inside team manage who does what so that the marketing team as a whole comes together? I'm assuming there's a geography spread. You all don't get to sit in the old school whiteboard and do it. So how do you manage the teams remotely to find that right trigger to move the emotional cord of the buyer?
So there are multiple things that we do in this, right? So this is now what we talked about was typically email marketing and persona handling. Apart from this, there are a lot of action items on the SEO, SEA side of things. Then there is website management. So who's going to come and read my website? You have to design that specific sections of websites or specific kind of users as well. So that also needs to be handled by people. Then, of course, you have contents that you're creating. You're creating blogs. You're creating vlogs right these days. So video blogs, even those are created for specific kind of users. So all of these things basically are done by different kinds of people. Now, it used to be challenging earlier when you used to have 20, 25 people sales team. If you have at the disposal and make everyone do the different things altogether. But these days, basically, we are innovating, trying to find out best ways to do this, these things in more efficient way. One of my friend always keeps on saying, that in your kitchen, will you always have utensils, all the utensils of the same brand? Will you have a Samsung oven and a Samsung heater and a Samsung geyser, everything? You're not going to have that, right? You're going to have, everybody makes different products best. So why have one person doing everything? So what we have done basically is, and we find it very, very effective, is that we basically hired a very few people on board, but we actually get things done from contractors. So we actually go to Fiverr, we go to freelancers.com, we go to elance.com. We have identified great bunch of people there who are extremely qualified. You will not believe how good they are. Their rates are extremely good. Delivery is extremely good. The work is good. It's very fast. And we've identified those for different kinds of things. So if somebody is very, very good at doing graphics and animations, then we give it to him. If he doesn't do a work, I can quickly switch. I have no lag on that front. If somebody is good at doing pure play graphics and image designing, we give it to him. Logo designing, everything. So we've got people identified for almost everything, and we have complete flexibility and control over the budget. That actually gives us a lot of. We feel like we have a 30 people team, but our costs are less than maybe 5 people team. That's actually the beauty of doing this remotely. Yeah.
No, the good lesson there. And this is also interesting for entrepreneurs who are trying to do it on a budget, which I'm sure that you can relate to, which is we want to find the right talent just in time, use them for that purpose and not let them wait for work. What is the way you have understood the mechanism of partnerships, distribution of talent, and decentralizing? What tools to use to manage this workflow so that you are able to get the maximum output? How do you optimize it?
Correct. So, so the partnerships basically we have, as I said, for every single thing. For example, even for blogs, we have partners identified already who are very good at technical content writing for us, so who are actually good in terms of understanding sales, the sales process, not the generic technical writers, who may not understand anything, where the heavy lifting has to be done by us. So because the time crunch is also another factor for every entrepreneur, we've identified very, very good technical content writers, video creators, who are actually good industry experts in our area. And we designed something like a calendar, content calendar for a month on which they keep on working and give us the content. So we've identified basically everywhere we have identified right vendors to do this. And even partnership wise, we basically go by the adjacent island philosophy. So we identify, if I can't reach out to everybody in my budget, I may want to piggyback with somebody who can reach out or who is reaching out to. For example, in our case now, we sell it to sales guys, right? So every sales guy is in front of a CRM. So CRM actually has a very vast audience already created. So we are piggybacking with CRMs, and through CRMs we are reaching to maximum people as well. So we are trying to use those techniques to lower our marketing costs and increase the reach at the same time, so that the awareness actually is not hampered along that.
Leverage is amazing. I think if you think about every few minutes, I'm finding a new trigger for me in terms of learning. You use the word leverage. Now, in terms of expenses in marketing, there are so many channels: content, trade shows, outreach, inside sale, on the field sale. From what you have experienced at Clodura, what has been the channel that has been most effective? What has been the channel that's least effective? Doesn't mean it works the same way for all industries, but would love to see where the pitfalls have been, where the mountains have been.
So see, marketing basically is a kind of thing where there is no right answer ever, and it does not. One trick never works for everyone. What I firmly believe, it's never either or. You have to figure out a way to do most of it, if not all of it. So you have to be a little smart in terms of doing it. Now, we do a lot of SEO, SEM, but we hardly spend anything on it. It's extremely low cost affair. We use a lot of free tools which are available, to do that. There is SEO optimizer, there is SEMrush. For website traffic monitoring, again, we have to be very, very cautious and vigilant about it. We again use a lot of free tools there: Crazy Egg, Hotjar, Kissmetrics. So we constantly keep on working on figuring out ways to do the activity in lesser cost, but not to cut down on the activity. We also do webinars. We also do tech sites. So we go to a lot of tech sites and answer questions like Quora, Tech Target. You will not believe how many people come and read those questions and answers, and get in touch with you for the further inquiries and so on. So no channel is bad. We, as a marketer, I think it's our responsibility to use every channel available at your disposal. It's just about figuring out how to use it in the best way possible without causing a dent in the company's budget. And it is possible. It is absolutely possible to do that.
In fact, this might run actually, if I had the chance to run a 90-minute with you, there's 90 possible ideas. So in the last few minutes, as we wrap, one of the key things as a Dallas Venture Capital team member, I've always seen when we bring in a portfolio company, when we want to see its greatest success, acceleration in revenue, growth in scale, finding its next leap into the next series, at Dallas Venture Capital, we call it the DVC Advantage. One of the things I have personally seen is brand advantage is very significant. Enterprises should see the company amplified to much bigger than they are. You have mentioned about the engagement of the customer, education of the customer, and then buy decision should be there. So you don't need to push it in the new age marketing. The noise versus the signal. Give us in a few minutes. If I was a customer of Clodura, I'm the sales guy, marketing guy trying to find my signal. Give me a 2-minute pitch of Clodura as a wrapper so that we can bring it all together on from the horse's mouth. Kapil, the founder, give us the Clodura in 2 minutes. That would be awesome.
Sure. So see, it's actually very simple. As a sales guy myself, for a long period of time, the biggest challenge typically, if you go and ask a CEO of a company, what's your biggest pain point, he's going to say sales. And if you go and ask the VP of sales, what is your biggest pain point, he's going to say leads. So everything in every single company typically boils down to leads. If you can keep on bringing more and more good quality leads on table, you will figure out a way to close them. That's never really be a challenge. It's always about getting those right people constantly on the table. Now, the issue here typically is, you're playing a blindfold game with your customers constantly. You are blindfolded and they are blindfolded, and you are left on the ground, and you have to go and now find your, each other. You may find them in 1 minute. You may not ever find them in 10 hours also. So it's a blindfold game. What all we are doing in this case is basically we are putting a bell on his collar. We're putting a bell on your customer's collar so that you can hear him. You can actually find out where he is and go and find him there. That's basically what Clodura does. So what we are doing is we are actually listening to what the companies are saying, what the contacts are saying, what kind of trigger signals are they leaving for you, making sense out of it using machine learning and AI, making your job easy. You don't have to go and search 100,000 sites and figure out it yourself. You can all simply just put and go and say, hey, this is what I want to sell. Show me which people are going to now use it. And all that you have to do is basically just click on them, search the contacts. Will give you their email ID, cell phone number, everything. In one button, you can run a campaign and reach out to them. So the whole cadence feature basically is already automated. So right from finding the customer to reaching out to them, the entire lead gen workflow is a single click function. That's what basically we are trying to achieve in Clodura.
Well, you got there in 1 minute and 42 seconds. So we got 30 more seconds left. And
efficient salesperson I am.
Wonderful, Kapil. Lot of good learning on behalf of NASSCOM's product Enclave. We learned quite a bit. 20 minutes went by like 20 seconds. So much good learning. I personally have made a lot of notes. We should reconnect and talk more. For the audience who are listening in, I'm sure that you picked up quite a bit of notes. You can always reach out to Kapil offline and understanding the 25, 30 ideas he has given. He is full of energy. I will ask a question and you don't have to answer this so that we leave the teaser for the folks. Just think about your favorite brand and why it became your favorite brand. You can keep that as a teaser. And for those who want to know, you can always reach out to Kapil. He will educate you more about Clodura. I would love to see some of you becoming a customer of Clodura because he can teach you about sales and the tool to enable. On behalf of NASSCOM, representing Dallas Venture Capital and all the team members who put this together, Vikram, Nikhil, and team, great job organizing everything. Kapil, thank you for your wonderful insights. Very, very targeted, precise, and it is the right trigger to move on to the next session.